right, this is Principles of Government. It's topic 1 in your textbook. All right, so our learning objectives, we're going to define government and the basic powers every government holds. Describe the 4 defining characteristics of a state. What makes up a state is what we're going to be discussing. And we're going to talk about the 4 theories that attempt to explain the origin of a state. So how did a state begin? And finally, understanding the purpose of government in the United States and other countries. So there's 2 types of government that we're going to be going over. This is an intro video. So we will be going into depth in other videos. So just very basic. Government, public policy, legislative power, executive power, judicial power, dictatorship, democracy, Aristotle, state, sovereign, Thomas Hobbes, and John Locke are your key terms that you need to know. They're in your textbook. All right, so first of all, why government? So you might be thinking, why do we need a government? There's really great reasons why we need a government. The government essentially controls everything in your life, from taxation, defense, education, crime, healthcare, transportation, the environment, civil rights, working conditions, what you eat, what types of food, what goes into your food is all regulated by the government. Roads and infrastructures, and how money is distributed really has to do with the government. And it affects you. So you as seniors, it's so important for you to gain knowledge about who is running for government, what kind of propositions are on the ballot, just really doing your research first before you even go to the voting polls. And make sure you read everything on the ballot, because sometimes there's tricky language in there. So make sure you read carefully, take your time. There's no rush. Okay, so first of all, we need government. The government has basic powers, and government is a human invention. So not every government looks the same. There are 2 types of governments. There's unitary government, which all of the central power is in one unity. Basically, that means that you have a single power that controls everything, whereas in the United States, we have a federal government. And that means that the local, state, and federal government all have a even distribution of power. So one is not more powerful than the other. Unitary, you just have a single power that controls everything in the state. And typically you're going to see unitary powers in smaller states, such as Japan, but you can also see them in larger states, such as China. So really the state is this kind of political idea. So the nation is the people, are the people. So understand nation are the people, while state is the territory with a governing body. So what I mean is there's a political system, whether it's unitary or federal, the state has the power to make and enforce laws. So there's 4 aspects of a state. You've got population, which is the people, of course. You've got the territory, which is the geographical boundaries of the state. And sovereignty simply means that the state has the power to control its resources and to implement certain public policies. Whereas you have government, we're going to talk about the 2 types of government. I have a map to show you in a little while. All right, so here is the 4 characteristics diagram to kind of help you out. So the way that the population is determined is every 10 years there's a census. So this happens in the United States. Everybody participates in the census. This is 2020, so the 2020 census is being conducted right now. So make sure that your parents are participating in the census. It's very important. This benefits the state in a lot of different reasons. So we'll go into that later. Okay, so just want to kind of little side note that it doesn't really matter how large a state is as long as it has its own governing body. So for example, San Marino is the smallest state in the world. It only has about 24 square miles, which is a lot smaller than San Bernardino. Whereas Russia, right here, is the largest. So it has 6.6 million square miles, and the United States only has 3.8 square miles. So United States is a state because a state is just another word for a country. But we'll talk about in a minute how it is different with a federal government. And Russia is a state, China is a state, but each has a different government, type of government. You either have unitary or you have federal. So here's the map to show you. So you've got the green, that's the federal government. So Australia, Brazil, Argentina, Russia, India have federal government. So that means that they consist of the local and state and national government having an even distribution of power. Whereas you have the unitary, which China is an example of that, and states in Africa, and Chile, and some of the other states in Latin America, Greenland too, also have a unitary government. So, okay. So first of all, this idea of how a state even arose in the first place. There's 4 different theories. There's the force theory. So basically the force theory means that tribes in the ancient times just kind of conquered other kingdoms, other civilizations. So that's one of the theories of how a state arose. And then somehow it, became a little bit more structured as time went on. And then there's the evolutionary theory that kind of the strongest survive. The strongest leader in the tribe was able to rule, and everybody else felt that, okay, we need to listen to this person. And then you've got the divine right of kings theory. So this is the belief that a certain individual has been ordained by God to be a ruler. You also have the social contract theory. So that's more of what is going on today. Especially with the formation of the United States. Originally, a king ruled the United States, and then King John, to be more specific, ruled the United States, and then this idea that the colonies said, we're not going to have a king dictate, we're going to be we the people. So this kind of social contract, which we'll get into in a minute, is basically the people are giving up a certain amount of power to be able to have a government protect them. So there you go. You've got force theory, divine right, evolutionary theory, and social contract theory. So this idea really originated with some of the authors of the Enlightenment, which we'll talk about in another video. All right. So this is an example. This is King Louis the 14th, and he was king of France, and he believed that he had this divine right to rule. So what do governments do? Governments do all kinds of different things depending on the type of government. So there's an authoritarian regime. So the greatest example that I can give you of an authoritarian regime or a dictatorship would be North Korea with Kim Jong-un. He controls. He has people that go out and are the eyes and ears of the government. And I'm just using that kind of analogy for basically they report to him whatever is going on. So if there's any rise in government, oftentimes it's very oppressive. This form of government is very oppressive. Oftentimes they practice communism, which we'll get into. You probably have a little bit of a background in communism from US history. And then there are democracies. That's what we have in the United States. And so we'll talk about the preamble right now. It's we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. I want you to stop and I want you to kind of reflect on what that means in your life. What does that mean as a whole? We, the people. Who are the people? And what is the responsibility of the people in terms of having an impact in government? So what does the government essentially do? Its job is to form a more perfect union. So united, working together. Now, it was originally created to be a one-party system, but due to a lot of political tension from the Federalist and Anti-Federalist parties on the issue of how much control should the government have versus individual rights, which is a common theme in history, which is a common thing in government that you're going to see over and over. And when you watch the news, you will see this happening over and over. This question of individual rights versus the good of the majority of people, the protection of the people. So the government also establishes justice, ensures domestic tranquility. So that just means that, you know, domestic disputes are handled and there's peace among the land. The government's job is to adequately fund the military and promoting general welfare. So this idea of the good of all the people. So promoting public policies that are for the good of all the people, and also making sure that people are free and remain free.